This is so good, man. It's so good to have you on the Crate show, Crate Cast.
It's good to be here. It's good to catch up with you. It's been a while.
It's been pandemic plus a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Sydney where we last saw each other real quickly? Around Christmas time, like just before the pandemic?
I can't even really remember, to be honest.
It's got to be 3 years.
Yeah, and it's amazing how fast 3 years has gone as well.
What did you get up to in those 3 years?
Did a lot of surfing.
Yeah? Did you travel or did you stay around the beaches?
Oh, I stayed around the beaches, yeah.
How's the pad?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah?
It's good.
Yeah? Same spot?
Same spot.
Manly?
Yeah.
Sick.
I'll probably be there forever, I'd say.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was an interesting time, that's for sure.
Did you get stuck into much music or reorganize it? You've got quite a lot of records. So there's that. Did you get stuck into making music or anything around that?
Yeah, I did actually with a good friend of mine, Matt Rowan.
Yeah.
We pumped out a couple of EPs.
Yeah.
We released on I've got a mind blank. It will come to me. But we had a couple of EPs.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was a productive time in that sense, for sure.
Did you come to any revelations?
Not really. Yeah.
Zen Low, I'm going to call you.
I just I guess I had a rest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in terms of, pushing the pedal for so many years, especially in the music business.
Yeah.
Like, as the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
It was a forced break, but it was a needed break. I was pretty kind of burnt, like not without realizing it. I was, after stopping for about two or 3 weeks and getting a bit of sleep and just getting away from everything. I was just like, wow, I was kind of burning the candle at both ends.
I mean, you're one of the busiest DJs in Sydney, arguably, right? Regardless of that, you do a lot of gigs. I mean, how many did you get up to at a stage?
Oh, it was different every week. It was,
right.
Some weeks it was 6.
Yeah.
6, 8. Some weeks 2 gigs, and then traveling as well. Interstate. Bali, Fiji.
Yeah. How's
he
Burrell?
was
I haven't seen him in a long time.
He's good.
Is he good?
I saw him a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I went over and DJ'd
Cloud9?
On Cloud9 and hung out with him. We went surfing. He's really good.
Yeah.
And I'm going back over in a few weeks as well.
I'll give him a hug from me, man.
Yeah, I will.
Tell him I'm having a baby and I'll send him my love. Shout out to Burrell. Cloud9, Fiji.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah. So I guess the positive that there's been no real revelations is that, you're doing what you love and you've got your shit sorted,
Yeah, that's right. I mean, straight back into things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like just picked up where we left off, really.
Did you listen to much music, like in a different context during that time?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I started buying records again.
Yeah, okay.
And, shopping around at record stores.
Yeah. Physical ones or online
just
ones?
Online.
Yeah.
And, just started buying a lot of records again, which just kind of became a hobby, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So through the whole pandemic, I probably bought about 60 records.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was good.
Where do you buy? Where are your go-to places?
I sort of search around and then go back to Something Else Records in Sydney.
Yeah.
Try and buy locally.
Yep.
But I'll have a look at Elevate in Berlin, which is Cynthi's record shop. There's Phonica. What's the other one? I can't remember it anyway.
Yep.
There's a few renowned globally record stores, so I'd always check out what they've got, then go back to Something Else Records.
Yeah.
And try and support the local.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
You get it, bro. Any standouts in that 60?
All of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew you were going to say that. How many do you shop for to get down to your 60? Because your track selection, and even in the digital context, when I listen to you play, which has been so many times, I don't even think I've ever heard you play the same track twice. Not that that's a bad thing either. I mean, we all have some of our go-tos. But you can tell that you put it like, you know how you said you're burning out a bit. How much time were you putting into your preparation in terms of getting your new music for each gig and stuff?
Yeah, there was a lot of preparation. Like I treat every gig, really seriously.
Yeah.
And the preparation, whether I'm playing, at a simple gig at the Wharf Bar in Manly.
Yeah.
At an early time, or playing, at a techno club like, We Love or something.
Yeah.
Like it's the same preparation.
Yeah.
Which can be like, some days it's like it can be 3 hours before a gig, just making sure you got the right music, just getting in the right headspace, all that sort of stuff. So, I guess a lot of the stereotype is you can just rock up at a gig and just chuck a USB in and, you're all ready to go. But there's just so much stuff that goes behind the scenes.
There is.
Yeah.
There's a feeling too, like if you don't have a game plan or know like when you've got new tracks, you don't know them that well. You're building a bit of a connection with them. And then if you don't sort of have that prep and know what you've got, you tend to go back to stuff that you know.
Yeah, and you kind of feel like you're sailing over a reef you've never been over.
Yeah.
If you're just playing a whole bunch of new tracks, 'cause
Yeah.
you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't sound like it's sounded like at your house, you know what I mean? Or listening through your headphones.
Are you buying on cans or are you listening to speakers when you're listening to tunes?
Just speakers, and like my real testing ground's my car.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because in Sydney I drive around a lot.
Yeah.
And it's got a good sound system, and I can just get a real feel of the track.
Yeah.
So, but if I'll buy a heap of tracks, and then I'll just chuck them in the car, have a listen to them, and straight away I can just sort of go yay, nay, kind of eliminate.
Right, so there's a car filter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, this is for the digital stuff.
Yeah, because that's where I spend most of my time. Yeah, listening to music.
And do you get to, when you're in the car, do you get to listen a lot, like start to finish as well?
Yeah.
So you've got time to let the track warm up.
Yeah, and driving from gig to gig as well. Like
yeah.
If you I listen to a lot of the new music.
Yeah.
Or I'm about to play the gig as well.
Yeah, gotcha.
And sometimes you can just tell straight away. And if you're listening to a track on a good sound system, sometimes you just know as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's a bit of a gem I think you've given us. The car test.
I think probably a lot of people will tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Like there is a car test.
Yeah. I have a similar thing, but I don't have the car, so
Because you ride scooters around here.
Yeah, we ride scooters, so I often listen to my own tracks through the headphones while I'm on the scooter, just because I've been in the studio. But other people's music for my gigs, I'll have it just playing, like you said, continuously.
Yeah.
In the background on the computer while I'm doing work.
Okay.
Right.
And the good tracks they
stick out because you're not. It's background.
Yeah.
And then if it's background and it sticks out, you go, hang on.
Yeah. You're just like, oh, what's this one?
Yeah. And I think one of the things I'm guilty of is when I'm first buying those tracks, I'm skimming a bit, because of time. It's always time, right?
Everything comes out of time. You got to be in the right mood.
True.
Because you can listen to music for 4 hours straight. If
Yeah.
you're not in the right mood, it always still sounds the same.
Yeah.
But if you're relaxed and you've been for a surf or something, done something that relaxes you first, and then you start listening to some music, it's more engaging.
Yeah, because I think you're more receptive. My thing isn't surfing, although I wish it was. It's saunas and ice baths. It's wicked.
That sounds pretty good.
It's intense because you're jumping in a 4 to 5 degree ice bath, and it's cold, and your body's producing stress hormones, or not stress hormones. It's the cells are under stress, and then therefore changing their state, and it takes out all the inflammation out. Right, so it deals with your cortisol, and then the sauna fully relaxes you, and then you come back, you start listening to music.
How often do you do that?
Almost every day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like kind of my.
Have you done one today?
No, I haven't done it yet. It's normally around 4.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so looking forward to the Savo. But another big thing from the time that we haven't seen each other, you've got a little one on the way.
Yeah, that's
Congratulations.
Right. Thank you, and yourself.
Yeah, we're going to be dads.
We're pretty on par, aren't we?
Yeah,
as well?
man. August for me, and November November, is
They're
it?
going to be DJs for sure.
Artists, DJs, surfers.
100%.
Have you thought of names?
We have got a name,
Yeah.
which is a secret at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Do you know boy or girl?
we do.
Okay.
It's
Awesome.
another
man.
secret as well.
Awesome.
And yourself?
Yeah. I'm having a little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. River.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that name.
Yeah. River Apollo. So the god of, I think Apollo is Zeus's son, and it's the god of music and poetry.
Oh, okay.
But River, obviously, river, but then we spell it R-I-V-A.
Right.
It's pretty, because I'm ocean, and baby's river, and Trish is Trishala, which is a trident.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big water theme going on, even though I'm
Yeah.
not a surfer yet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for you, mate.
Yeah, you
And,
too,
I mean,
man.
you know, I've known you for a long time.
Well, mate, we're longer than a decade now.
And I remember I saw it on Facebook, actually, that you were having a baby.
Mm.
I was stoked.
Yeah.
I was like, woohoo.
I think I saw for you.
Yeah.
I saw.
Is it Facebook?
I think it's Instagram for you, because I'm not really good on Facebook anymore. I don't have enough bandwidth to kind of be on all these social media platforms. And I think you posted, maybe it might have been an ultrasound picture.
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah.
So, myself or Blair, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just went, no way. And just like instant warmth is what I felt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's exciting.
What kind of prep have you been doing on your end for the transition?
Holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
As many as possible.
Yeah.
Obviously doing, stuff to the house.
Yeah.
Got to turn the spare room into a baby room, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And just
Is the
enjoying
spare
ride.
room where the records are?
Yeah, I don't have that as I've moved all my music into a studio.
Okay.
I've got a little studio in Manly.
Yeah. Whereabouts is your studio?
It's above the Belgrave. You know the Belgrave
Yeah.
Cafe?
Yeah. You and me used to do parties there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we hosted
Yeah.
a little Kaiser and Robbie
And
for Robbie and Kaiser.
And there was one I didn't show up to.
Was there?
Yeah.
I don't.
That's
Do
another
you still
story.
remember that? I don't even, mate. I don't even remember that.
Excuse me.
I remember once we went to one of my best mates' place, Polo, and I was hitting him on the head. Do you remember that?
Oh,
and you know, I said-
vaguely.
With a and you're just like, that's gnarly. And I said, have you ever seen that before?
Yeah, but I remember the second party we threw, like, I didn't turn up because I had a big night the night before.
Yeah.
And so the next day I spoke to you guys and it was like Robbie Lowe show.
Oh,
Like,
was it?
Yeah, it was like,
Oh, man, I
I got
don't.
labelled the lowest point in Robbie's career. Just all these labels. I felt so bad. I was
I
like,
don't actually remember. I might vaguely remember like a sorry Froth can't make it kind of message, but I don't.
I slept through.
Ah, okay.
I
I don't remember.
Those days are over.
Anyway, so the studio's above that
Yeah, it's above.
cafe.
Yeah.
Sick.
So we're just at the moment we're making it into a studio.
Yeah.
Like painting it.
Who you doing that with?
Alex Preston.
Oh, Press.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So he's doing the studio.
He's got a little
part.
one coming too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I spoke to him. I haven't spoken to him.
And that's
for a
why
while.
we had to move all our stuff out of the house as well.
Yeah.
Because we need space in
Yeah.
our houses. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, how did that come about? That's a cool team.
Well, I wanted to do it for ages.
Mm.
Like I wanted to have my own studio,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to have it close to home.
Mm-hmm.
Just where I could put all my records and the decks.
Yeah.
And set up a studio as well, like just build one.
Yeah.
And excuse me, but the rent's pretty expensive in Sydney at the moment. Well, not really at the moment. It's always been expensive.
yeah.
And it was a bit sort of expensive just to have one by myself. So I just asked around a few people, and I found a room, and then I was like, oh, maybe Alex would be keen because I know he needed space in his house as well.
Yeah.
So I just
Where's he? Is he DY?
Yeah, he's at DY.
Yeah.
So I just asked him. I just said, do you want to go halves with a studio, and we'll set it up. I just I want to keep all my records there. I want to set the decks up, just make it just a cool little spot just to hang.
Yeah.
With a studio,
Yeah.
obviously. And he was keen.
How big's the space?
It's like It's huge.
Is it the size of?
It's probably the size of this studio. Like not as big as the 2 rooms, but it's maybe 2/3 of the size.
Yeah.
With high ceilings.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's pretty big. So I could fit all my records in there.
Yeah.
You know, you can have a DJ. Just say on one half of the room, could have a DJ. You know, set up with turntables, etc.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the room, just have a full studio, kind of like the one I'm looking at now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in the corner there.
The W studio here.
And then have like a you know, couches and
you want to have a couple of couches.
Yeah. So for debriefs.
Yeah, debriefs, red wines.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So it's exciting. So yeah.
Do you know when his baby's due?
Next month.
Oh wow, same as me.
Probably same time.
Well, I gotta reach out to him. He's been doing well. He's been doing really well.
He pumps out a lot of music.
Yeah, he's a bit of a factory. He's a bit of a machine.
He's a machine.
And I think a lot of people are machines, but he's got a particular discipline in the finishing, the final part. He gets it done. You know what I mean?
Which is the hard part.
Which is the hard part.
Yeah.
That final. Some people are sprinters, get halfway and lose gas.
Yeah.
And other people can just consistently get to that finish line and finish up. And he can do both because he can start and he can finish.
Yeah.
And look at how much success he's achieving with obviously Tool Room. He's getting a lot of plays on Spotify. He's loving his guitar, you know, so he gets to have that element.
Yeah, no, he's doing really well.
Yeah, he just had a release with Mofunk, right, on Rob Soul.
Yeah, which is a good label.
Yeah.
And he's got his own label too, Basement Sounds. That's one of the labels I released a track on through the pandemic.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. I don't think I was during the pandemic, but what was your track?
It was called Say Yes.
Say Yes.
Matt Rowan and Robbie Lowe, Say Yes. It's kind of it's a housey, disco-y kind of.
Yeah.
It's a hard genre to put it in. It's got a housey feel, but it's also got that classic sort of, 90s funky-ish prog sound.
Yeah.
As
okay.
Well. So and I'm not too sure what that influence is in the track, but it's probably the deepness, a bit of an undertone deepness.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of hot filtered kind of funky parts and that sort of stuff. But it all comes together.
Yeah.
It actually did really well. It's quite surprising, but.
That's awesome, man.
It's kind of, the tracks that you think are going to go really well don't really do well, but then you make a track and you're like, oh, I don't know about this one. And all of a sudden, everyone loves it. It's kind of weird.
That's so true. I think there's a lesson there too.
Probably just have more faith in your own work, right?
I think, it's a faith thing, but it also comes down to, I've been in the studio so many times with people that aren't necessarily producers that I'm sort of jamming with, and we kind of go, let's collab or whatever. And they get excited because they start connecting with the track. And then it comes out, this is going to do so well, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it almost sets the song up for a bit of failure. Because the expectation gets high. And then after, when you have high expectations on something, the next part is the doubt that can creep in, which then makes you lose confidence in something that you've bigged up. And it takes a bit of fun. This thing that we're doing, it's all about fun. We're supposed to be having fun, right?
That's right.
And releasing music it's kind of like catch and release, it's almost, you've got to pour your heart and soul into it. But when it's at the finish line, you just got to let it go.
Let it go, right?
And then what you're talking about is you just have a feeling sometimes that one's going to go really well. And for whatever reason, it may not. And the one that you think doesn't go well goes well. And there's a lesson in that, that it's not up to us to decide what we think.
That's right.
Because you can never. So a lot of people, what I think do and shouldn't do, so this is like a bit of advice for everyone, including Robbie and myself, we're going to give it to ourselves, is if you ever think that a song isn't going to do that well and you don't, because you don't think it's going to do that well, you don't release it, don't do that. Always release.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
And just close the book on it.
Close the book on it. Let everyone...
because they can't all be big hits, right, either?
No.
Yeah.
And I don't think they need to be. I think the fun part is letting it all out there and just seeing who connects with it.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Talking about Rob Soul, right? Phil Weeks.
Yeah.
He's got that flavour. He writes deepish, but very house.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's sort of deep house, but it's kind of house, but it's got a deeper vibe to it.
It's loopy as well.
It's loopy.
It's fun and loopy.
It's fun and loopy.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of...
And it's just never going to go out of fashion.
No.
It's
Because
always
nothing's intense.
That's it.
You know? There's a real, like, 420 vibe to it.
Yeah, and,
you know?
And it's that formula's always worked in dance music.
Yeah.
It's just a simple formula with, you know, with good samples and just good hooks.
He's got a bit of a hip-hop feel to him, you know, with his looping and sampling, you know.
With some of the vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got this kind of, you know, sort of taps away and creates a rhythm.
And that's what the hook is, right?
Yeah, that's how he makes
simple.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool guy. Yeah. And like you said, so it's timeless, right? One of the things about you're, for the listeners and everyone out there, you're one of the biggest DJ influences in my life. I know it's funny because we're mates, but it's kind of good because I've probably seen you DJ a lot. Then, you know, it's hard to have someone very, very high profile that's on the other end of the world be a big influence, because when I mean influence, it's literally watching how you mix, you know, and picking up on little things. And then we've had so many debriefs over the years to get that time to ask you questions, you know, whether we're putting on having a red wine and a debrief at the old studio above Garfish. Do you remember
Manly,
that? Manly,
that one.
yeah, with Olsen. But, you know, and getting that kind of insight into your style, because Murat's another big influence on me. But for you and him, you guys have such different styles. And I kind of peg you more in that digweed Sasha vibe, where it's absolute sophistication and finesse. I mean, one of the things that you were teaching me was always leave a bit of headroom on your faders.
Yeah.
Right. And understanding more now about music and sound. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Right. But also I think some of the time you would mix and you wouldn't even adjust the lows and the mids. You would just that long fade.
Yeah.
Right. And so as you're bringing in the next track, you know, you've already got your lows at 12 o'clock, but it's that smooth that it's still bringing in the energy, right? Instead of doing the sharp
switch,
the switch,
the EQ switch,
the EQ switch, which is really effective if you're going from one bass line to another and need a gap. But in this music, and this really makes sense now, dancing to your sets, because I've danced to your sets a lot, especially at Spice, I think. Spice and probably Sash, but is you don't know where the song starts and finishes, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's sick, you know, and I've obviously had tried to help people as well with advice when people ask you. And, you know, one of the things I used to say is just watch Robbie Lowe, you know, if they could, right? Watch him. I think once I sent to Scotty a video, watch this. You know, I think it was
Scotty Cow.
Yeah. Shout out to Scotty, because I was trying to explain to him the finesse that you do. But I want to know, like, who's the master's master? Because obviously you've got a style. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate it. And who were some influences for you to get to that? Like, how did you go, that's how I want to mix records?
Yeah, I guess I come from a pretty old school way of mixing.
Yeah.
You know, when I learned how to DJ.
How long have you been DJing now?
Oh, it's coming up to 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How close? Like
next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mate, we got to do
Party
something.
time.
We got to do something big.
Party time. But I came up for a school of DJing where there was not much. A lot of mixers didn't have EQs. Like
Right.
it was all about the just mixing on levels, and so it was it was about mixing the track into the track in a way that was seamless and without too much fuss, I guess. So it was kind of like if you knew your records, you'd know where to mix the next the track. You know, coming up there's a 64 beat break, just with a kick. Okay, that's where I have to launch my next track in.
Yeah.
And then just get on the levels, and bring one level up and bring the next level up, but in a way that you had a sound that was constant as well.
Yeah.
So no dip in the energy.
Yeah. I was going to
So-
say the energy, the master.
And then when you've got that energy, you know, I guess that's the style of mixing that I've sort of taken through the, you know, up until today.
Mm.
And it's just about always having an energy through each mix.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, thanks for the compliment about the seamless, you know, not hearing where a track starts and ends. And I guess that's just because, you know, having the levels at a certain spot. And, yeah, so I just like that style of mixing as well, I guess.
So was it more from a throwback to what was available at the time to mix with? As you said, it wasn't much EQing around the time. It was mainly faders on them.
I guess it was that, and it's just the style of music I've always played as well. It's you know, I guess coming from a progressive kind of house roots, you know, it was all about seamless mixing and, you know, having smooth transitions and all that sort of stuff.
There was a big emphasis back then on transitions.
Yeah, and by the way, there's no right or wrong with mixing as well. Like it's just whatever your style is and whatever works for you. But yeah, I just like that style of mixing where it's seamless, and I like that, like how we were talking about power mixing.
Yeah.
And without using, I like to, you know, when I'm mixing, I like it to be known I'm mixing as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you, like you said, you're on the dance floor, like, you know, I've been on a dance floor when John Digweed's mixing, and you can just hear this freight train
coming,
kick drum coming through. It's just like boom, boom.
Yeah.
And everyone in the room knows there's a new track coming through, but just because he's got this, it's like this marching kick coming through with control and power, and that just even lifts the room without the actual transition.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's like the next song's coming in, or it's being launched.
Yeah.
But you're feeling it more energetically just from the kick.
The kick and
right.
And that's a special moment in mixing, and that control in mixing, I just think separates, you know, a good DJ from a really good DJ. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's when they can just control that energy through just a kick hitting a kick and having your levels right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And then, you know, obviously doing the rest of the mix, which is the exit point, making sure you get the last track out of there before the, you know, the next track's peaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everyone's got their own style as well. It's kind of like, and like you said, you just, you know, I was inspired by local DJs in Manly, like, you know, DJ Milton.
I don't.
He was a king at power mixing.
Really?
And he taught me a lot of stuff.
Shout out to Milton, the Power King. Manly mixing Power King.
If he ever listens to this podcast, I just, you know, shout out to, thanks for the tips in my early days.
Yeah.
And amongst other guys like Paul Flex Taylor from Sydney.
Yeah.
A few other locals, and then of course you got your guys from overseas like Danny Howes. He's a fantastic mixer in that sense, that style. John Digweed, your Sasha, your James Avilas. That's the school I came from.
Yeah.
And you just pick bits out of people's styles.
What did you pick up from James Zabila? You've warmed up for him a few times, I believe.
I picked up that I had a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
He's versatility, right?
Yeah.
I guess. Just don't be scared to try something a bit different. Like, you know, if you've got like a breaks track and a house track, if there's a spot where it's going to work and the dance floor is going to react, just do it. You know what I mean? And I think having that diversity in progressive house, being able to play, you know, deep house to progressive house to techno, even back to disco, I think it's you know,
that's fun.
It's done well, you know what I mean?
And that's fun. If you can pull it off and like you said, keep that energy going.
And Danny Howes is the master at that.
Danny Howes.
That's why I really like Danny Howes. He's like a massive influence
shout out to Danny Howes,
because he can, you know, he can start the night with 110 BPM, you know, Balearic disco, and then build the night up to deep house, and then, you know, and to progressive house, and a bit techno, then bring it back down to house, and, you know, go all over the place. But it's also seamless.
One of the DJs that I discovered who unfortunately passed away, but I got to discover him and listen to him a lot during the pandemic was Andy Weatherall.
Oh yeah, absolute legend.
Wow.
Fantastic DJ.
Amazing. Someone uploaded a whole lot of his mixtapes throughout the years on a Google Drive, and I got to download a lot of them, and just I realized, you know, how cool the guy is just from his music.
Yeah,
talking about what you're saying with diversity. You know, he can go into like a modern recondite track, into an old disco thing.
Yeah,
you know, and it works.
And it sounds like it's meant to be, right?
Sounds like it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And the patience in his build-ups and setups.
Yeah.
You know, talking about the Danny Howells and starting at that kind of 110, and this constant anticipation.
Yeah.
You know, that something good's always coming.
Exactly, and it's just it sounds natural, and it's not only the build, it's the decline as well.
Yeah, the peaks and troughs.
Like it's the way they can bring it down and then take it.
Yeah.
It's definitely what makes me tick. That's for sure. That style of mixing, it's great.
Yeah. Wicked, man. So that's a bit of insight. Have you? Do many people know that about you? That's sort of. Have you told that story to many people, or is this like a Crate exclusive here?
This is a Crate exclusive.
Awesome.
I don't think I've ever got this deep into my mixing style of that sort of stuff. But I did a post on Facebook a few months ago. I've got an old mixer at home.
Was that the
at Vestax 500?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old. It doesn't really have much on it. It does have a bass and an EQ. And a mid, but it's just got 2 levels, and I just took a photo of it and I just pointed at the levels.
Yeah.
And I just went, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Kind of, and a lot of people were private messaging me, just going, "Oh, Robbie, what do you mean by that?" And so I had to explain, which is fine. I guess that's why I posted it. Just explaining to people that the fundamentals of the mixer is the 2 levels. You know what I mean? You can get a smooth mix just using 2 levels.
Have you played on rotary mixers much?
Yeah.
That same concept? How do you find, because I know you've got this even hand position down pat, right? And because you can anchor yourself on the thumb, right? And it allows you to have that consistent adjustment, right? And obviously rotary is a different thing. How do you go on those guys?
Yeah, I don't mind them. It's the rotary, you have to use your ear a lot more. It's all about your ear. And then obviously, you know, you're turning a knob, so you've got to get your brain in tune with going this way rather than that way. But you really have to fine tune your ears with the rotary, and it takes a lot more work. But the sound's better. The rotaries always sound better. It's just practice on those things. I think ultimately, like, if you pull off a really good mix on a rotary, it sounds good. And if you use one for, like, if you had a residency in a nice club and you use one every weekend, you get really good on it. Yeah. And you probably wouldn't go back to this.
Faders.
You know what I mean? You just be like, oh, I want rotary all the time from now on. Yeah.
BYO rotary.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Have some water, mate.
Yeah. But we used a rotary at my birthday party this year. A good friend of mine, Garth Linton. Yeah. Shout out to Garth.
Shout out to Garthy.
He's got 3 kids. He's pretty busy at the moment. But he wanted to use his rotary, and I was like, oh, okay. All right, let's do it. And I remember we set it up, and because it was my birthday, I got a bit socially lubricated. Yeah. And it was just it got really hard to use because I just had a few drinks, and I was just like, oh, just my ear's not in tune, and it kind of like it's like I was, you know, just guessworking a little bit, just like, oh, does it sound all right? It's almost like I needed a caddy next to me just to go, yeah, it sounds fine.
Just an ear caddy.
So turn it down a bit, and I'm like, and I said to him after that gig, he goes, mate, we're not using those again.
Especially at my birthday.
On my birthday. Yeah.
Wow. Music. So thanks for those insider information. What's I guess just still on the mixing, what are some things that you see that if you had the heart to tell someone that probably don't do that? Obviously we have a role to, wisdom kind of gets transferred from top to bottom. Yeah. I learned at the Shore Club where I had to do 4-hour sets, and I played for free for a long, long time before I even started getting paid. And I guess kids don't get chances much anymore to play the longer sets and understand track selection and how to keep people engaged for and how to, loosen people up with the groove, right? And make people feel comfortable when it's not a busy room, but adding that warmth. What's what's some things that, you know, you've always wanted, you wish you could tell someone that someone might have told you that really helped with you?
Mm-hmm.
What are some tips?
Less is more, I think, with mixing.
That's our motto at Crate, by the way. Less is more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Not over mixing.
What's an example of over mixing?
Like just mix, just 2 tracks going, mixing together when they don't need to be.
Yeah.
Like just, you know, find the spot to mix out, and then let the next track play.
Yeah.
And then you get more out of your tracks and a bit better energy. But I guess, you know, my ears might prick up sometimes. And, you know, we're all DJs. We all listen to people, you know, playing wherever we are, in the back of our head, right?
Yeah,
we're not like, you know, sitting there just going, oh, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah,
it's
we're not
like,
sitting there like that, you know. But you always, whenever you walk in.
But I think just over mixing and just less is more. Like it just does, you know, whether it's just being too heavy on the EQs or, you know, just it's I mean, that's
So get more on the fundamentals first.
I guess so, yeah.
Before thinking you need other things to make.
I mean, unless they're playing really horrible music, you're playing the wrong tracks. What are you doing? You can't really say that.
Everyone's got has a right to play stuff they like.
Yeah, like.
Well, actually, that's an interesting point. People should be playing stuff they like.
That's a yeah.
You know.
Yeah, 100%. That's a big one. That one.
You know, I think you need to play stuff that you connect with, because that's going to translate on the dance floor. If you're not connecting with music that you're playing, what are you doing?
You're not going to connect with the people in front of you.
Yeah.
If you don't like the music you play.
There's a bit of that.
Yeah.
You know.
But not everyone, like, it's, in saying that though, sometimes you know, even if you do get to play at these amazing venues and play the most amazing music, you still have to watch what's happening in front of you. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like you can't just sort of just be self-absorbed the whole time as well. Like if you might have a period on a really good dance floor where there's just a little bit of interest is being lost, and you do have to kind of turn the car a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you've always got to be, you know, ready and watching the dance floor.
How do you like, let's say you're playing, right, and you're losing a bit of interest. What's a way for you to steer it back?
Well, it just depends. Like sometimes people lose interest and there's nothing you can do. Absolutely,
they're going
nothing.
for a ciggy break.
Yeah,
you know?
So you can fall into that trap as well. It's like, oh no, everyone's
taking it
leaving.
personally.
I've got to play a bit harder or something, and then you end up just screwing everything, and everyone just bails. You know what I mean? If you can gauge what's happening, maybe you've just tired them out a little bit, and then you've just got to bring it back with more of a groove. Sometimes that's just the answer to that. It's a balancing act. I think you only know that with experience of reading dance floors. There's no real clear-cut answer to that one.
Yeah, I think. 1 second, I'm just messaging.
But the general, I give the general rule of thumb I keep to myself is when in doubt, don't go harder, just go groovier as well.
Mate, that's such a good point.
Usually, like, you can always win a dance floor back from anything if you just put a bit of soul, a bit of warmth, a bit of groove back into it, and you just start to collect a dance floor again. If it's just gone too sort of bland or whatever,
I can fully put my hand up to that. I have so many personal experiences of around that kind of 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and someone's just absolutely belted them.
Absolutely bashed it.
And, you know, it's gone up to about 125, 126 even, and you're just going, oh my God. And you sort of try to create a continuation, but then somehow you're down to 120 and it's after hours and the whole floor is just with you again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's deeper and it's just dubby and
groovy.
It's groovy. And I'm getting shivers, right, just thinking about that.
And it's a magical moment.
It's a magical moment.
Yeah. When you've got people dancing to that tempo.
Yeah.
to
it's sexy,
percussive kind of house.
Yeah, they dance sexier.
It's natural rhythm.
Yeah,
people naturally dancing.
They groove.
They're grooving along.
They're grooving along, man.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of that
rather than being forced to dance.
Yeah,
like with hard fast stuff.
That's a big reason why I'm sort of not I'm not a big fan of EDM music, even though EDM music was kind of the first genre that I got into as an artist, because that was my entry point. I felt that you've got this kind of two complete different schools of thought with music. One genre is like seductive and gives you energy 6, but the crowd wants to give you 8 in reaction. And then you got the other style that's blasting you with 8, and you really, it's like an aerobics class, right? Yeah. That music should be, a must for like Zumba and aerobics.
It's a full body workout.
It's a full body workout. You're moving your arms left to right, and you got getting told when to put your hands up and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, big drops, big breaks.
Big drops, big breaks. And there's something said about Mufti. It's all right. Yeah, it's okay. There's something said about that slower, groovier after hours. So that will never get old, ever.
Definitely.
There's a bit of that in kind of Phil Weeks, what we were talking about before. Yeah, he's got a bit of that. DJ Wild.
And it's not easy to play like that either.
No.
Like I said before, that's where a lot of experience comes in. To hold a dance floor at a slow BPM with just, not big tracks, just every track has its spot in the set.
Yeah.
That's the skill,
yeah.
I think, anyway.
That's fun.
It's really good fun.
Yeah. But okay.
Yeah, good chat. Yeah.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
Mate, so I started a thing called Crate, and it's funny because we've never spoken about this, and I'm sure the listeners who have heard me week in, week out hear me explain it to different people, but I really want to give you a bit of a rundown. So Crate's basically Beatport and Bandcamp, but also using NFT technology. So it's a music store, but we're also a community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to do during the pandemic was all my DJ mates, including myself, we all lost our way of earning income. And producers, most of us, supplement our lifestyle from our DJ income, not from the sales generated from music downloads or streams, right? Mm-hmm. So that's already a bit weird, right? That it's like the only way as an artist to survive is through your gigs. I started questioning when I had all this time. I'm like, why is that the case? And I came to a few different interesting answers, such as the current business model and how it all works. And, music sold at, $1 or so. And then you've got the vinyl industry, which is robust. It survived that transition from digital to physical. And I think you've got two different styles here. You've got in the digital space, we have to promote on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, everywhere to maximize people downloading your track.
Yeah.
Vinyl, in the vinyl culture, it's, hey, I'm an artist, I'm on vinyl only. If you really want my track, you've got to buy the record.
Yeah.
Instead of me chasing the sale.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Two completely different schools of thought. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I much rather the vinyl space, but not everybody has a way into that world, because pressing records is expensive and it can be a big risk from a label to want to take on emerging artists that don't have a track record in sales, mm-hmm. right? So I got into kind of learning about blockchain, NFTs, and a non-fungible token is essentially a certificate that sits on a blockchain, which is like a public database that you can't change, right? So no one can interfere with that. And that NFT can be, in the music case, basically saying that Robbie Lowe is the owner of this digital track and there's one of 100. So now with NFTs, we can create like this kind of scarcity where at the moment, right, when you download music, you can buy a track infinite amount of times, right? It's unlimited. Mm-hmm. What happens in that transaction is the site that you're buying from, such as like Beatport or whatever, it's just making a copy of a copy and sending it to you, triggering you to download it, Right? Everything's copied. Even streaming is every time a song is streamed, it's actually making a copy of itself. That's all like tech stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so when I got into researching, and I've been working on Crate for over a year now, and it's taken a long time to get my head around it and try to think of the best way we can use it in our world, in the underground scene, because it's a little bit different to the commercial scene. We're all about trying to play music that no one's heard before, and we're all about digging for music, right? And the challenge now, like you were saying, you're spending, you can spend up to 3-4 hours before every gig.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of prep, a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes. And one of the challenges digitally is if you spent 3 hours trawling Beatport, going from one label to another, then to the artist, and then really going deep and not relying on what's fresh now, because timeless music's timeless, right?
Absolutely.
And then you play, let's say you've got some killer tracks that have taken you 3-4 hours to find. You play them at the gig, kid Shazams it, which is fine. Shazam's amazing. But then he can get that track straight away for $2, right? So if I was a smart grom, I would be just following Robbie Lowe everywhere and train spotting him, right? Because your selection's incredible. But then I don't. You're welcome, man. But at the same token, what I want to say is, don't learn to follow people. Learn to follow yourself, right? So it's like Robbie Lowe has his style. Follow his method, not his actual tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise you just, who are you? You
don't have an identity.
You don't have an identity because with you, there's always a theme, right? And we're talking about this before the podcast. Like a big thing for you is house music that stimulates endorphins, feel good feeling. Yeah. So back to Crate, back to spending time looking for a track. There's no incentive there to actually spend the 3-4 hours. So it's a dying art in the digital space. With NFTs now, what you can do is, because the person who's uploading the track can now go, right, I'm only going to have 100 copies of this song. And every copy has an NFT attached to it saying 1 of 100, 2 of 100, 3 of 100.
Yeah.
So now an artist will be able to create limited pressings or minting, it's called, and then slowly drip feed that to the public. And what we've lost at the moment, remember those like relationships people had in the vinyl space, with the person that worked at the record shop? And depending on how good that relationship is, you might get that test press or not, right?
Yeah, the good stuff.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
And that relationship is so important, and that's another layer of human connection. And now, like on Beatport and things like that, I don't know who's buying my music. On SoundCloud, I know who's playing it and stuff like that. But where it really matters, I'm not getting the data, right? And every single person that buys one of my tracks deserves a thank you from me, as far as I'm concerned, especially because there's not that many, right? There's probably a couple of hundred in entirety. Who knows, right? And I want to get to know these guys and get to know how the track going for the sets and give them more music if they want that from me and as a thank you, And that's community, and we don't really have. I think Bandcamp's pretty good at that, right? And that's what we're building. We're building something that brings it all together, and we're doing something else that's in the vinyl space as well, which I can't say yet, but we're doing it all. And so on the NFT side, all of a sudden when you upload it, and it has to be exclusive with Crate. So you as an artist would upload a track, you would determine how many copies you make, and those copies would then be listed on the blockchain.
So it's just like a virtual record shelf.
Exactly.
Like you've got 100 digital copies available of the track. Once they're gone, they're gone.
They're gone. Once they're gone, if an artist wants to buy it, they have to sort of knock, message one of the guys that has it, because you can see every owner. Right. And go, hey, can I buy that track? Right? Yeah. Which is how it works in the record space. Yeah. So there's incentive now to be the first to get it. Yeah. Right? So let's say you're a digger and you're buying one of my tracks and you're always first to my stuff. I'm like, Robbie, I've got this next one. Do you want it? You're like, yes or no, So then I get to and the first time when you're selling the track, you'd probably put like 50 cents to $1 right, to the first buyer. But every time, so you've bought the track off me for $1, right? Some grommer's frothing, going, Robbie, that track's amazing. Let me take a photo. And you've gone, yeah, sick. If you want that, you've got to buy it off me because you've got the track.
Yeah, yeah.
And for you to sell it, you're only DJs. We don't really want everyone with the same music. So if we're gonna let them have the track, we might as well make money out of it. And this is how you start to monetize the dig, right? Because the digger is always going to know where to find his shit versus the follower. Because the follower's following the digger.
And it makes it harder for the follower.
Makes it harder for the follower, right?
Yeah.
And at all of this stage, the artist is benefiting. Now, there's some more. The story gets better. So every time that song is bought and sold, the artist is making a commission, which is insane. So in perpetuity, that song is, and you know how music works, man. You know, listening to a track for the first time is listening to a track for the first time. Tracks can go around the globe for a couple of years and still be bought and sold. So this kid that's seen you play the track really, really wants it, and you guys start negotiating. $4, $5, whatever, right? And he buys it off you. So you've just made money as the DJ from a track. Right.
Okay.
And that out of that $5, 20% or whatever the artist has put into the NFT, which cannot be changed once it's on there, can't be changed. Once it's the NFT's created, all the information that went into that NFT, such as the royalty splits and all that kind of stuff, and who gets what, is locked in.
So the DJ can sell the track, and the artist still gets a commission. On every track. Yeah. So the followers can buy the tracks off the DJs.
Yeah.
And then the producer still gets the commission.
Yeah.
So you're bypassing, places like Beatport.
Yeah.
Anywhere like that, and you're buying straight from the DJ.
Well,
that kind of thing.
You can buy straight from the artist. And most people Crate is for DJs and producers. So people that are music collectors are more than welcome. But my focus is people, my people, and that's DJs and producers, and they're the people I want to help the most. I want to help producers not have to spend so much time on social media doing self-promotion and more time making music, because I believe good music should do the talking. And I believe that DJs are the ones that can make or break a record and not be told to. Just let them go on their little... And it's like bees and flowers. Flowers need bees, bees need flowers. DJs and artists need each other. And that is the most sacred relationship. There's probably three. There's the people on the dance floor, and then there's the DJ and the producer. That's the triangle of our world, right? And the first part of that world is the DJ and the producer, and then the second bit is obviously the person on the dance floor, who's probably 9 times out of 10 ends up becoming a DJ and hopefully a producer, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Over the time you've been DJ, how many people have you used to be the go-to, me included, and now
it's a natural progression.
It's a natural progression, and that's fucking beautiful, right? So those now, even the people that are buying off the DJ or buying off the artists that are not professional DJs, many of them might be hobbyist DJs, right? They now can have bragging rights too, because they have the song. They go, I've got the track Robbie played. I got his one. I bought the track off Robbie. So there's a bit of value in that as well.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And where that's going to go is it's going to go to a place where eventually you'll be able to sell your mixes, and the DJ makes commission and the artist is making commission, because you selling your mixes, which is all music from Crate, right? You'll be able to, you want to try to market your tracks. So if you're, because I consider you a serial digger, right?
Serial digger.
Proper, you're a proper Crate digger, and you do that obviously with records. I mean, God knows how many you went through to get to your 60. But digitally you do it as well. And it's people like you that this is built for, because you would have a DJ profile, Robbie Lowe, right? And you'd be following some of your go-to guys, and then a bit of a vibe's going to grow, because people are going to see, oh, Robbie keeps buying more. And also, oh, I'm the only guy in Sydney that's got this track, because you can see where everyone else who has that track really quickly.
Yeah.
You know, so you can rinse it a bit more. You know, right? Because
it's good to have those tracks, isn't it?
Yeah, and because remember, there's a bit of bragging rights into being the first to find a good tune. Underground culture is about looking for music
that's
no
what
one
it
knows.
used to be like in the in the 90s.
Yeah,
like you said, if you had to be at the record shop at the right day, and there'd only be 5 copies of the best record of the week. And if you had it, lucky you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to play it for a few weeks and no one would have it. And that's what sort of separated you as well.
Yeah.
But these days everyone's so accessible to every track. It's hard to have an identity with your own music.
Yeah, I think that the sad thing is a lot of DJs felt pressure to become producers, because that's one way to have like stuff that other people don't have. Yeah. And I don't think that's fair. I think there's an art in DJing, and I think a lot of people...
It's two separate things.
Two complete separate things. And I think a lot of people could have spent more time digging for music and building those connections and being like proper tastemakers. And that's what we're going to bring back. And it's pretty exciting, because every person we speak to, every DJ, every producer is like, sign me up. So now from next week, we start actually building the thing. It's been a real journey, raising money from investors and speaking to people around the world. And we've got a team of 11 now. And it's getting really real, man.
It's a great concept too.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing that unfold.
Mate, we'll keep you fully posted with when we start building the community. I'd love to have you on board as a DJ and as a producer with some of your records. But I think we're coming up to the hour mark. I just want to cover a couple of more things. We got time, right?
Yeah,
we good? Yeah.
Mate,
we're just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
Sick. Your music, how do you buy tracks digitally? Like, what's your process?
I just what do? I use Beatport a lot because I just find it easy.
Same.
I use...
Are you still in Beatport Classic View?
I wish I was.
Yeah. Do you remember that when
I used it for as long as I could?
Good, yeah.
I don't like change.
Yeah.
I use TrackSource. I use Bandcamp a lot.
Yeah. So you're getting on the Bandcamp.
I use YouTube a lot as well. Funny enough, there's a few channels on YouTube. That have really good selections uploaded every day, and so it's finding a track there and then just finding out who's got it.
Yeah.
Digitally. And
what are some of those channels?
Halcyon is a really good one.
Yeah. See, again, these are curators, right?
They're just creators of music. I can't remember the names of the other ones, but there's channels for everything. And the quality of music that these channels are uploading, there's every track's just on point. It's amazing. And not all of it's, stuff you can get your hands on. A lot of it's on vinyl as well. But it's just, it's funny, on YouTube or something like that, it's like you find one track you really like and it's an artist you've never heard of. And then it opens a whole new world of music for you.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you just like, you zigzag to another producer and you're like, oh, wow, what about this person and this person?
There's a connection too, because they might have done a record together.
And I find that a much easier way to find music than just, jumping on the likes of Beatport, which, Beatport's a fantastic site.
It's got everything.
It's got everything, but it's maybe got a little bit too much as well, because you can sit there for hours and just go through hours of music and get a bit lost in it. But, some of these fine-tuned channels on YouTube and even Spotify these days as well, you can just find more of the music you're looking for. It's a little bit easier to find, and then just go back and then just find somewhere to buy it, I guess. And I know a lot of these channels are pushing Bandcamp over everybody else. I think that's probably... I don't really know too much about Bandcamp, but I believe that the artist benefits the most.
Bandcamp is what you call a direct artists to storefront.
So there's not a middleman kind of thing, is there?
No.
When you buy a track off a producer on Bandcamp, they're probably getting most of the money, right?
Pretty much. They get about
so
75%.
So that's why these channels on YouTube are pushing their music to Bandcamp.
And Bandcamp is really, if you read their like about them and stuff, they really are artist centric, artist focused.
Yeah.
And if you look at their website, it's a bit more intimate. In other words, there's a bit more discovery. And if you notice, you'll probably notice this next time, they make the artwork bigger. So there's more connection to the artwork too, right? It's a bit more of that, which is again that kind of vinyl tribute.
So so Bandcamp's another place to get music, Track Source, just all the obviously like Beatport. There's a few others that I can't think of right now. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah. So
is there some artists that you're really consistently vibing, or some new ones you discovered that you off the top of your head?
There's there's heaps. It's like I've got my go-to artists that, you know, like just for example, if Jimster brings out a release, I'm straight on it. You know what I mean? There's like Mr. G. There's just
how good's Mr. G?
There's always my go-tos, and then there's
these. Just can pause. There's your go-tos that you jump on straight away, and that is what we were talking about earlier. Is that relationship takes time to cultivate. But no matter what Jimster releases, you're onto it.
You just know.
You just know.
It's trust.
There's trust.
As well. And
So imagine if moving forward, right, you're one of Jimster's number one buyers, right? And it's pretty easy to tell over time. It's like Robbie's bought like 40 out of my 50 releases.
Yeah.
This one's going to all the people that like, such as the Robbie's first before everyone else. So I'm going to send it to Robbie's profile.
Oh, so you've got priority.
Got priority.
If you're buying a lot of their tracks, the producer's tracks, kind of thing.
There's a few ways we can do that. We can do that by you pay a subscription to the artist, and then you get the first chance to buy the track, right? So you might pay $5 a month or $2 a month or whatever, right? And you get the first chance to buy. Or another way to do it is the artist simply just wants to. What I think some artists are going to do is they're going to give away their music for free.
Yeah.
Or at least if they've got 100 tracks, they'll give 50 to their number one DJs. It's free. Like, here you go. Sending it to your account. And so you sort of log in and you go, oh, it's all the music that might go to, like Mr. G's given to me.
Yeah.
And they let you sit on it for a bit and play it, and then they put it onto the market.
And then they send it out.
Yeah. And then by then, someone's probably bought it off you for $10. You know? But you can make a copy and still play it for yourself. Because you can't control, once people's got that MP3 or WAV,
it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
But the NFT is always on the blockchain, right?
Right.
So you can always make a copy for yourself, just like you can make a copy. You can, copy a record and make it digital or make it into cassette once you buy it. So why shouldn't people have that with us? You know.
And this new project of yours, so it's the brainchild of yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's been about a year, and it was born from two problems: a problem that DJs go through, and a problem that producers go through. One of there's that other problem or challenge, which is social media, and that's a pretty full on place, because there's a lot of positives about social media, but there's also a lot of negatives, and it's knowing what's good and what's bad for you. And the concept of music, it shouldn't be a competitive process. It should be a fun process that comes from passion and love. And this kind of narrative that we have to spend most of our time marketing ourselves is very strange. Every single guest I think we've had that are full-blown producers on the Crate podcast even all agree that they hate social media and posting on that, and much rather just have more time to produce music, because that's what they love.
Yeah.
And what DJs love doing is looking for tracks. Spending hours digging for tracks. If you can fix that,
it's a whole new world, the whole social media thing, isn't it?
Oh, how do you find it? Do you post much?
Yeah, for sure. Like I mean, kind of have to.
What's your go-to? Are you on the Facebook or the Instagram?
Just do, but I mean, I think Instagram's probably. I'm more active on Instagram.
Have you jumped on TikTok?
Yeah, I haven't done TikTok. No, I think that's where I draw the line on that one. But it's social media can be fun, but it also can just just mentally just be draining as well. But it is a strange world. It's especially coming from going back to the 90s. It was just you went to a club, you DJ'd, whoever's in the club heard your music, and then that's how you just the word spread kind of thing. But it's just a difficult market these days. The social media, because that's where careers are made. That's what it feels like. Yeah, it's like if you don't have content, how do you actually promote yourself anymore? It's kind of it's a strange world.
It's a strange world because I find that people are working for social media rather than getting social media to work for them. So you become a slave to the content machine so it can sell money and advertise. And I think...
And I don't want to... I mean, obviously, it's fun as well, and I don't want to bite the hand that feeds us all. Because it's actually, helped us along our way as well.
Makes a lot of things easier.
It's hard to get, the right stuff out there too. If you've got a new release and, you promote it on social media, you do everything that you can. Sometimes it just doesn't pop.
It's just check this out, right? If you've got, how many followers you got? Let's have a look.
A couple of million, I think it was.
where I don't want to sit here and complain, but I've got a problem with this, right? This to me doesn't feel right. And I don't have I have the business answer to it. You've got 3,920 followers, but when you do a post, 3,920 people that have said follow Robbie don't see that.
Oh yeah. It's
what's with that?
And it's like 10%.
Right. Yeah. And that already shows you it's about 10%, give or take. They don't publicize that, so everyone's guess is as good as it's going to get, but you can sort of gauge it just on the interaction. But you're an artist, right? Life's already tough. Fucking tough, and you've worked hard to build up a following, gigging each week. People have followed you, a couple every week, one or two, and you're posting a new track and only 10% get to see it unless you spend money. The more money you feed it. But we don't have money to begin with, right? So it doesn't, and so again, with Crate, let's say you transferred those 3,920 followers onto your profile at Crate. If you go new track, you can send it to them.
Everyone's going to have it.
Everyone can have an opportunity to buy it. Now, if you're a bit of a spammer and you hound your followers a bit too much, they might just do a bit of a tap out, ignore. So that balance between you and your followers is at your discretion, not at the social medias.
Yeah.
And I guarantee if you've got 3,900 people getting a chance to buy your track, you're going to have more sales compared to 10%.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
So hopefully you can surf more and spend less time on social media with Crate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But back to some of the go-to artists. Mr. G, Water G. Have you seen some of the footage of him getting up and just dancing on the tables?
Yeah, what an absolute legend, isn't he?
Yeah. I wish I could do that. It's got so much swag, man.
It just makes you smile, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. And you hear the crowd going, you know what I mean?
And I've watched him live do that as well. You just can't help it, be motivated by that. And he's such a nice guy.
Is he?
Super nice guy.
Yeah.
You can tell he just has this immense passion for his music and what he does.
He's big on the drum machine, yeah? Does he put that in his set?
I don't know. Yeah. He's got he's got this trademark. He starts with the kicks.
Yeah.
And then I think it's after 64 or something. There's his trademark snare.
Yeah.
It's like a high.
Yeah.
And it's just straight away it's a Mr. G track.
Yeah.
Does it every time, but it's so sharp and it's so clean. And if you're mixing with it, it just you hear that hat come through, the high, and it just elevates your mix as well.
Yeah, it just gives shout out to Mr. G's.
Oh, the guy, he's an absolute legend, Mr. G. Always been a massive fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a massive fan of Jim's job. When it comes to trying to, think of names on the spot, I'm not sometimes my brain's not working properly today. I think I've had too much barley sun today or something.
Mate, soak that up. You fly back today?
Tonight. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
I'm glad we got to do this.
Fast. Yeah.
I'm really glad we got to do this.
On the last day. I didn't think we were going to get a chance after a while.
Yeah, it was a bit of...
What's going to happen?
Mate, it's meant to be. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
What's let's leave it on one pearl. What's one thing that I guess if you know, Robbie 30, what's one piece of advice that you wish you could give yourself, you know, that's just starting out, additional to the keep the mixing simple, because that was an absolute pearler.
It's a good question, that one. It's
in the industry, you know, that's starting out.
Piece of advice, I'd probably just be a bit more active with producing a bit earlier in my career, I'd say. But besides that, I don't have any regrets or any. I feel like I've just, you know, I've done everything and everything. Like I've achieved more than I could have imagined in 30 years. Like I was just, you know, I got told some really good advice when I started.
Which is?
From a guy called Paul Flex Taylor. And it was really simple. He just said, just pick your road, you know, be patient, don't rush, practice, and just enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? And just try not to get caught up in other, you know what I mean? Like just, it's all about you and your road. Yeah. And I guess 30 years later, I still stand by that advice. And yeah, what
that's
can I
awesome,
say?
man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you so much, man.
And going back to what we talked about earlier, a big thing as well is you've got to play music you love, like the whole time, because that's, you know, that's how you build your identity, and that's how you last, and as well, longevity in the scene as well. Yeah,
it's slow and steady.
Nothing happens overnight in this scene.
There's an illusion that it does.
It can be really good, then it can be brutal, then really good, brutal. Like it's a lifelong journey. It really is.
Do you find it interesting when, you know, you're trending and everyone, you know, there's extra froth on you than normal, and then you know that doesn't last, and then the wave, it's like sets, comes back again, and you just, you just ride it when it rides.
When you start getting those periods where you're getting that extra attention and froth. Yeah. The down periods of that are a little bit hard to deal with. Yeah. But after you know how to deal with it, you come off those frothy periods, and you have a little rest in your own mind. It's fine, because you know things, like it just goes like that the whole time.
I think that it's inspiring, because you have that little wave and you go, that was fun.
Yeah, exactly.
What can I come back with that's right, that I didn't have before?
And you can't force anything back. You just got to, you know, things turn around again. It's just the nature of the scene. You just got to
follow your path.
Keep doing your thing.
One thing about you that I've always respected is that's, you know, you're 100% authentic about yourself. Who you are is who you are. And you can tell that you're just doing your thing, man. You don't need you're just doing it, and that's rewarding for you. You're getting the love back from it, and you're having fun,
absolutely,
you know? Yeah. It's like, I'm like, this guy's interesting.
Yeah,
and then, you know, that's how we became mates. Yeah. Bruv, so good to have you on our Crate cast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And it's good to catch up with you as well.
Really good, man.
And best of luck being a dad.
Yeah, you too. I mean, we'll have some play dates in the future.
I think next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be amazing.
There'll be 4 of us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good, man. So good. All right. Until then, mate, let's keep in touch.
Absolutely.
And all the best, bro. All the best. Cheers, Froth.
Cheers, legend. Thanks.